Hello, friends. Welcome to Level Up with Debbie Neal. I am your host. There is nowhere I would rather be than right here, right now with you. This podcast is all about leveling up in all aspects of our lives. Thank you for being here. I am so grateful. I'm excited to be on this journey with you. Together, we are leveling up. You ready? Hello, my Level Up family. Last week, we spoke about 5 tips to succeed. 1, be all in. 2, be a lifer. 3, outwork everyone. 4, commit to growth. And 5, which is always a must, stay positive. Being positive is one thing. Staying positive is another. This week, we're going to talk about a topic that's really important and it's really powerful. So here's the thing. Whatever you do for a living, why are we here? Why are we together? You're here to level up. We are on a mission. We're on a mission to grow, to expand, and to be the very best in our field. Remember, we're not competing with anyone, but you are competing with your best self that you were 5 minutes ago, an hour ago, yesterday. Everything is an exchange. You must be willing to give up something to get what you want. Do you know what you want? Are you committed to your next level, to your best self? And here's a question. What are you willing to do to create the life and success that you desire? So here's what we're going to talk about today. Today, we're going to be talking about sacrifice. Sacrifice is the heart of leadership. In leadership, sacrifice is not a one-time payment, okay? It's an ongoing price. So to kind of give you a visual, it's not like, you know what? I'm just going to pay it off. So let's say you have a 30-year mortgage, you have a 20-year mortgage, you have a 10-year mortgage, like I'm going to pay it off. No. Success is a lifetime mortgage. You do not have the ability to just pay it off. You can't give it for a period of time and it's like, okay, thank you, you're done. And that's one of the biggest misconceptions out there. I can't even tell you how many amazing people that I've spoken to or I've worked with, and they've said things like this, like, I did this. Like, I gave up whatever it is, X, Y, and Z. And like, so I did the things people told me to do, and now it's falling apart and it isn't sustaining. And what's wrong with my team? And what's wrong with my company? Here's the best question that they asked me, okay? It's not just me. Maybe that's not a question, it's kind of a statement. It's not just me. It's the people around me. The same thing is happening to them. So like, I'm not the issue. What's the issue? Okay. No matter what you do for a living, okay, success, it's not a do as I once did business. It's a do as I am currently doing business. If you are on a path to leadership, it never ends. The higher you go, the higher you climb, the more demands there are on you. And this is not a bad thing. So sometimes you could hear that, like, well, forget it. I'm just going to stay where I am. I'm going to live in my comfort zone. I'm going to live an average life. I'm not going to create an extraordinary life. I don't need any more demands than I currently have in my life. But it isn't a bad thing. In fact, I think it's a great thing. Leadership is about transforming lives, okay? It's about leading other people up the mountain. And of course, this is a Level Up podcast. So what does it represent for us? It's helping, once we level up, once we become better, right? We're helping other people do the same. It's leadership is taking the hands of many. I want to say taking the hands of thousands and what has the potential to be millions and guiding them to their very best self. It isn't about you. It isn't about me. We know that leadership is influence. And influence is leadership. And we just did a podcast on this, okay? Influence is everything when it comes to leadership. And sacrifice is right up there. And let me tell you this, it doesn't feel like sacrifice when you are in love with what you're creating. And so let's just talk about vision for a second. When you have a vision, you guys know I love vision, and you love it and you see it and it's crystal clear. Like you could almost taste it. You can smell it, and you're going to have to grow through things and make sacrifices to create that. But like, it's not going to feel like sacrifice. It's going to feel like effortless floating love, even though there's a lot of effort, because it's not a sacrifice when you are in love with what you're creating. It doesn't feel like a sacrifice when it's a calling on your heart. It's not sacrifice when you are committed to significance over success. If you are ready to level up your success, it's time to look deep within and ask yourself, what are you willing to give up? It's impossible to lead and to grow without sacrifice. Not if you want to be your very best. A leader must give up to go up. Leadership demands, and it always demands, sacrifice. If you are here to rise, if you are here to grow, then this is a conversation to have. So often people think it's a sacrifice for a period of time. So they might say things like, well, I gave up a season. I gave up a summer. Now I'm going to say this with love, like, wow, okay. And like, I don't want to say who cares, because that sounds kind of insensitive, but let's just throw it out there. Like, you gave up a season. Who cares? Like, do you want a medal? Do you want people to clap? Like, really think about it. A season? Maybe you made sacrifices for a year. Is there anyone out there that truly believes I'm going to make sacrifices for a year to live a lifetime of success, right? Those two don't sound like they go hand in hand. So think about that, because it does sound absolutely ridiculous, like literally. So talk to any leader. They will let you know they made sacrifices over and over again. The higher they climbed, the more influence they built, the more sacrifices they made. Effective leaders sacrifice the good to become their best. And I love when people say this, my life is good. Like, I'm comfortable. Right? First of all, there's no I in team, right? We're talking about leadership here. I have everything I want. Why would I make precious sacrifices to my already great life? And so this is what I'm going to ask you, because I am always going to be calling on your greatness. Are you committed to success, or are you committed to significance? When you're committed to living a life of purpose, you'd never ask yourself the above questions. Your calling would be bigger than your comfort zone. Your purpose and your deep desire to lead and love others would be bigger than your bank account. And so why do I say bank account? Because sometimes you could look at it like, well, I have enough. We're talking about leadership. We're talking about making an impact in the world, right? Once we make it about our bank account and our life, we've made it about us, and that's not leadership on any level. So let me ask you this, hypothetically, of course, because I feel like we're having a conversation, but I'm kind of talking to myself right now, right? But now I'm talking to you, into your heart. What are you willing to pay to become the most effective leader that you possibly can? Because here's the thing, if you're committed to growth, if you're consistently sharing your vision, if you're consistently leading from the front, if you are consistently rallying your team, you're giving this very little thought, right? So in other words, it's an honor to sacrifice. I'm doing these things anyway because I am continuously leading. We hear sacrifice, and sometimes we shut down. We shut down. We think, give up. Sacrifice means give up. But we're giving up to level up. It's like trading in a car to get a better car. It might be trading in, I don't know what, to get something better. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but it's an exchange. You know, some people, they sell their homes. They love their homes, but they're getting something bigger and better. So they are sacrificing their home, so that's the way I want you to kind of view it. You better believe that I am always willing to give up things in my life that are no longer in alignment to the next level of me to create a better life for my family, hands down. You're building out of joy. You're building out of love. No one achieves success without it. No one maintains success without it. And it isn't a one-time payment. It's a lifetime process. If you're not willing to sacrifice for your best life, then your best life will be your sacrifice. Either way, we're making a sacrifice. So let's look at the meaning of the word sacrifice. It is to make sacred. To sacrifice is to lay something on the altar of your life, something of lesser value, to gain something of greater value. So here is the reality. Most want the reward without the sacrifice. People want to be their own boss, but they also don't want to give up Netflix, okay? Or The Bachelor or The Bachelorette, or you name it, okay? People want a life of freedom. And the minute they get rejected, they just fall right back into the job that they hate. And I'm not saying give up that job. I'm saying build whatever you're building, right? That your why, but don't fall back into something that you deliberately want to get out of. People want to travel. And when they feel that it isn't easy, then they just justify playing small. Look at some of the people that you truly look up to. What did they do in the dark? You know, how many hours did they practice and give up things? There are so many young, super successful entrepreneurs today. And guess what? Most of them gave up partying to be in the 1% club. They were reading when others were drinking. They were hustling when others were racking up credit cards so they can appear they were living the lifestyle. They were investing in growth while others were dressing to impress without any depth or success or significance to back it up. So I'm going to look at my profession for a minute. And I always want to preface, like, I'm a work in progress. I have tons still to learn. I am willing to sacrifice until I take my last breath because I love what I do so much. And I love that I get to share it with other people and lead other people to whatever it is they're looking for in life. So I'm a work in progress. We all are. Okay. School is never out for the pro. But when I started my business, quitting wasn't an option. I wanted to learn how to present. I practiced over and over. That took time. I didn't wait for somebody to show up and do it for me. I sacrificed my time to level up. If there was a meeting, I went. No one had to tell me. Whatever sacrifice it was, no matter how long it took to drive there, no matter how long it took to drive home, I sat at the feet of people who were where I wanted to be. No one had to tell me to do that. And it's not because I'm special. I'm committed, and I was making sacrifices to create the life that I desired. I scheduled my business and I made it a priority. If something social came up and I had already scheduled my business, there wasn't an option. How in the world can I ask my family or anybody around me to take my business seriously if I wasn't willing to carve out that time and sacrifice it to build it? I set 24 and 48-hour goals and sacrificed other things to meet them. I taught myself how to present. I invested time. My friends were out. I was home. But here's the thing. I had so many friends that were complaining about wanting more money. Okay? You guys, I was doing what it took to create it. I didn't want to complain. We've talked about this in past episodes. You ever notice that 99% of the things people complain about, they have the power to change and they choose not to, okay? I was told I could work my business in the nooks and crannies of my life. I wasn't building it in the nooks and crannies of my life. I was building it in almost every single moment I was awake. It didn't mean I didn't love my family. It didn't mean I wasn't present. I'm a mom of 4. My babies were young. My life was hectic and busy, but my vision for my life and my family was worth the sacrifice. Did I miss games from time to time? Yeah, I did. Did I miss dinners from time to time? Yeah, I did. Were there many Sundays that maybe we were out doing something socially and my family left a party or a get together early because my whole family knew that I was getting on calls every Sunday? Yeah, we did. But here's the thing. It never felt like sacrifices. I was on a mission to change my family. I can't build a hobby and change my life. I was willing to give up time to create time. I was willing to make sacrifices to pay for college without ever thinking about college loans. My kids were worth it. I sacrificed lunches with friends. I sacrificed tons. But here's the thing. It didn't feel like a sacrifice. I was laying the those things down on the altar of my life. I was laying down the good to achieve my great. People want their cake and they want to eat it too. They want a life of choices, but when they're faced with a choice, they're taking the more convenient choice. We want a life filled with choices and abundance, but so many times we aren't willing to make a sacrifice, to be committed, to show up. You will never have to tell a leader to make showing up a priority, ever. Like, I almost would have been insulted if somebody said, don't forget, we have a meeting this night. I mean, what they're basically would have been saying to me is, I need to remind your ass to get on the call. Okay. People want a business that has the potential to be worth millions, and then they treat it like a hobby. You get what you give. What's the price you are willing to pay? Our goal in life is to find our purpose, to set our goals, to create our vision and make it sacred. To be great at something, you must choose to not be great at something else. To gain success, you have to give something up. But here's the thing, you're gaining, you're leveling up. So is it really a sacrifice, what you're giving up? Authentic leaders find their cause. They see their goal. They're obsessed with their vision. Everything else is easy to sacrifice. So you guys know how I love John Maxwell. So here's my opinion. He's like the king of leadership, the absolute king of leadership. And so the next few thoughts that I'm going to go over are definitely from him. I'm not exactly sure where, but I know that they're from him. So I just want to say that right off the bat. And then I'm going to touch on 3 key areas when it comes to sacrifice, right? And this might have been The Law of Sacrifice by John Maxwell, might have been, I think, his books of the 5 things of leadership. Okay. So anyway, you must give up to grow up. And that's sacrifice. It's our job as leaders to take people to the top. And that's what so many miss. We think we've made sacrifice. We did what it takes to build to the top. And now I'm going to stand at the top and I'm going to holler down for everybody to climb up and join me. If you've ever been to the top and you see how glorious it is, okay, what do we really want to do as leaders? We want to go back down. Okay, and invite others up. We take the hands, we breathe life, we build vision, we get back down and we lead. And so if somebody were to say, I want you to take a trip with me, okay, and we're going to go to the top, but you have to give up something. For everything you gain, you must lose something. So John Maxwell talks about the leadership pyramid, okay? So a prime example of giving up to go up. So as you become a leader, picture you're going up this triangle now, okay? As you become a leader, the higher you go in this triangle, the reason it's getting smaller is because you have less options. We think we have more options. We think if we gain a new title and a new pay increase, we're going to have less sacrifice. But if we are truly leading, the greatest leaders are servant leaders. We are leaders and we make it better for other people. We aren't leaders to make it better for ourselves. So no matter how high we climb, we are the ones who go first. To lead is to show the way all the time. So how many times have you heard or asked, what more can I do for my team, right? So do you have a team? Because it's our privilege to lead them, not to be there for them. They're 2 totally different things. So I did it. I showed them. What more do they need? Have you heard that or said that? Keep showing them. Continue to lead. Our greatest joy is taking people across the finish line, and it does make it better for us. We don't lead because of the perks. Most leaders lead because they like the perks of leadership, but that doesn't sustain. We don't work for letters. We work for numbers. We don't work for titles. We don't work for income. We work for significance. How many lives have you changed? How many leaders have you led to the top of your industry or company? How many people have you inspired to be more? But they haven't counted the price of leadership, right? What will you give up? Most people aren't willing to pay the price. What are you going to have to give up? Because here's the thing, what you will do, you'll either pay now and play later. Because if you don't pay on the front end, you don't play on the back end. The longer you wait to pay the price, the higher the price goes up. So we're going to lean in. We're going to level up. We're going to stop looking at the mountain and attempt to bargain with the price of success. The reality is when we don't achieve a goal, it's always one of two things. One, we didn't want it bad enough. Two, we tried to bargain with the price. We must understand it's about paying on the front end. We've heard the terms, whatever it takes. Law of sacrifice. It isn't always easy and it isn't always fun. But why do you want to become a leader? Is it because of the perks? Or is it because you want to add value to others and take them to a higher level that they can ever make on their own? If it's about others, you don't arrive. You keep climbing. If it's about the perks, I can't help you. If it's about others, no one can stop you. So here's the 3 points of sacrifice by John Maxwell, okay? Number 1, there is no success without sacrifice. There is not an escalator waiting to take you to the top of wherever you desire it is to go. So many people, honestly, sit on their bottom, sit on their ass at the bottom, and they spend years looking up at this mountain. It's like they're looking at a gigantic elephant and they're figuring out how to get the whole elephant in one bite. Take a step. Of course, I would say don't take a step, take a run, take a sprint. But if you want to walk, just move. Because here's the thing, the mountain isn't getting any smaller. In your mind, it's getting bigger and wider and fatter and steeper. Do you have a mountain, a goal? And think about it. The more you sit there, it's getting bigger and bigger, right? It's because you're building it up in your mind and it keeps growing and growing. But in reality, with each step, it's going to shrink and shrink. Quit waiting for the chairlift. No one got to the top of a mountain. No one got to the top of anything and said, oh, how did I get here? I have absolutely no idea how I got here. No. Success is not an accident. It's intentional. You can fall off the top of a mountain by accident, but you cannot roll to the top by accident. You get to the top, you grow to the top because you gave something up. And John Maxwell gives a great example of a hike. Let's say you're going on a hike to the top of Mount Everest. And this is what you would think as you're preparing for a hike, right? On this hike, they're asking for me to take essentials, only take essentials with me. They know that anything other than essentials on this hike to the top of Mount Everest would be a detriment. They don't take a U-Haul. They give up to go up. What baggage are you willing to give up? To go on this hike, are you willing to give up TV, scrolling, some socializing, your excuses, owning your vision and keep climbing because success is not a one-time payment? Number 2, the higher the level of leadership, the greater the sacrifice. That's a fact. When you start, you're willing to do almost anything. When you have no position, it's easy to give up. When you have no money, it isn't hard to give up. As you grow higher, you get more stuff. You trade off decisions become tougher. And then you have to make those trade-off decisions to keep going. Think about it. You start off, you're hungry, your why is clear, you're obsessed, you're willing to do what it takes, you sacrifice some. Maybe now you're driving a different car than you were when you started. Maybe you have extra income that you were working towards. Maybe you've earned a trip, a position, or a challenge that was your goal. Now what? So here's that question again. Did you work for the perks? Was it about you? Have you reached your goal? Is your view good? Now think about this. Do you want to bring others with you? Are you willing to do it again? That's the magical question. Do it all again, but from a different seat. Now you're more comfortable. It isn't about you. Leadership takes sacrifice. Leaders continue to make the sacrifice. They don't have to look for the next why. It's in them. It's not about you. Are you willing to continue to make the sacrifice to grow further? You're not at the top yet. You're only a percentage of the way up. Number 3, I love this one. You have to give up to stay up. Let me tell you something. When you go to the top of anything, if you don't keep going, there's only one way to go, and you are going to slowly roll down. You might fall, but chances are you're going to slowly roll. Now, most sports teams do not win consecutive back-to-back world championships. Why? Because it's the same thing, whether it's sports, whether it's business. Most people never do again what they did to reach their last highest goal, their last highest win. Think about it. Think about the last big goal you achieved. Maybe it was a title, a challenge, whatever. Have you ever again in your business given your business that level of focus and sacrifice and energy? And then we wonder what happened. And then, yeah, here's another thing. Humans are the smartest species on the planet. And then we're thinking over and over, what happened? What happened? What went wrong? I don't get it. We get it. Look in the mirror. You fired the CEO of your business. That was you. You allowed others to run your success. You relied on others to do it for you. Okay? You benched your best player. You don't reproduce yourself by telling your story. You reproduce yourself by living in your story over and over. People spend time telling people how they did it. This is what I did back in Dark 100. You stay up by doing the do. To level up, trade-offs. What are the trade-offs that you are willing to make right now to level up your life? Right? Because they're the trade-offs worth making. What are the things you're willing to give up to grow to the next level? Immediate pleasure for personal growth, quantity of life for quality of life, good for great, success for significance. Keep on going. The higher you go, the prices get higher. Giving up financial gain for future potential. It takes a conscious decision to keep on going. The higher you go, the price gets higher. That's why most people get 2/3 up and never climb any higher. Even at the top level of whatever it is you're building, there is so much more beyond that. Are you willing to give up your good for your best? Here's the thing. There will always be a price for what you want. The bigger the goal, the bigger the price, and the price must be paid in advance. What are you willing to lay at the altar of your life to achieve your dream life? What are you willing to sacrifice to live out your purpose? What are you willing to sacrifice to change the world? We are here to level up. We aren't here for easy. We are here for worth it. My mission is to not only bring out your best, but to truly share what it takes to succeed. Next week, we're going to talk about ownership. Once we take complete responsibility and ownership of our success and our actions, the game changes. So I'm wishing you all an amazing week. And please remember to search Level Up with Debbie Neal on iTunes, subscribe, and leave a 5-star review. First, that means more to me than you'll ever know. But the more you love, the more you share, the more people see this podcast, and then the more people join our Level Up family. Love you all. See you next week.